So point-slope form of a linear equation is this. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That is point-slope form of a linear equation. Basically, here's all it is. Since it's a linear equation, an equation has the variables x and y. So this is the x in the equation, and this is the y in the linear equation, x and y. These two come from a point on the line, and this is the slope of the line. And it basically comes from this point, this slope definition. If I just multiply both sides by the bottom of this, notice I would have m times x minus x, and then this would be on the other side. So this is just rearranging the slope formula. If I divide by that, then I'd have that formula right back. That's all it is. Yes?
What does the VAR stand for?
Variables. The variables are x and y. In a linear equation, you have to have variables. Okay? Now here's the form of a linear equation that you should recognize the most. It's slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form. And that's y equals mx plus b. You recognize that? Okay. And then standard form. Capital AX plus capital BY equals C. And the reason this is, the variables are always x and y. So the variables in the slope-intercept form are x and y, the variables in the standard form are x and y, and the variables in the point-slope form are the x and the y without the ones at the bottom. These are nice, but this one's the best. Because problems that you have to solve where they say write an equation for the line, and you're given that the line goes through the points 2, 8 and 5, 0. So 2, 8 and 5, 0 are on the line. So our directions for all of our next examples are going to be write an equation for the line. Okay? So, example number 1, 2, 8 and 5, 0 are on the line. Now you may remember doing this in geometry and algebra 1. That's fine. Do whatever way your teacher taught you. I'm going to show you what I think is the easiest and fastest way to write linear equations, and that is to always start with point-slope form. Because pretty much I can always get the slope and a point on the line. So if I have 2 points, could I find the slope of the line? So I'm going to do that. So the slope of the line would be y minus y, 8 minus 0, over x minus x, 2 minus 5. So 8 over negative 3, or negative 8/3 is my slope. So there's my slope. And then I have at least 1 point on the line. I have 2 to pick from. I could pick 2, 8 or 5, 0. It doesn't matter which one I pick. So since I have a point and the slope, I can start with this form. And I always start with this form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. This form will be you'll see it so much throughout the year. Okay, you need to use it later. Get used to using it now. All right, so all I have to do now is plug negative 8/3 in for m. And in place of x1, I need to pick one of these ordered pairs. I happen to like the 5, 0. So this is going to be my x1 and y1. So I'm going to put 5 in for x and x1 and 0 in for y1. So there's my linear equation. Now it's a linear equation, isn't it? Now all I'd have to do to get it in slope-intercept form that you're all used to using, in this case, is just distribute. So y would equal negative 8/3 x minus, and 2 negatives make a positive. 8 times 5 is 40/3. And there's my linear equation. And if you learned it a different way, that's fine, but this seriously is way faster. All right, so let's take a look at another one. Let's say I know that it goes through the point, okay, so this will be example 2. It goes through the point 2 comma 1, and it is, okay, it goes through the point 2 comma 1, and it is perpendicular to the line 4x minus 2y equals 3. All right, so what am I trying to do here again? Write a linear equation. Okay, so what 2 pieces of information do I need to know about this line in order to write the equation? Slope and a point on the line. Do I know either one of those right now? I know a point. There's my x1, y1. Do I know the slope? Can I find it? What information here can get me the slope? The perpendicular to, my line has to be perpendicular to this line. So does this line right here have a slope? How are you going to find it? Move the x over, and then what? And what's the slope of this line? 2. Y equal slope intercept form. So the slope of this line equals 2. Is that the slope of my line? Nope. My line has a slope that is the opposite reciprocal, since it's perpendicular. You know, that's the symbol for perpendicular right there. That's a symbol for perpendicular. So my line will have a slope that's the opposite reciprocal of 2, which is what? Negative 1/2. So now I know a point on the line, 2 comma 1. I know the slope is negative 1/2. If I now go right to point slope form, plug in the point that I have, x is 2, y is 1, so y minus 1 equals, what is the slope of my line? Negative 1/2. And then I plug 2 in for x1. Is this a linear equation? Does it go through that point? Does it have a slope of negative 1/2? All I have to do to get it in slope intercept form is distribute and add 1. Negative 1/2 x plus 1, add 1, I get y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. Okay, so what if instead of perpendicular to, how are parallel lines? Parallel lines how are their slopes related? Slopes would be the same. So that's pretty much everything you need to know in section 2. I mean, they might ask you just to find slope. Could you just find slope if they gave you 2 points? Okay. Could you graph a line if they gave you a point and the slope of the line? Okay, you could. So if I told you that negative 3 comma 0 was on the line and the slope was undefined, you could graph that line for me. The point negative 3 comma 0 is on the line and the slope is undefined. Could you graph it for me? Okay, so what would you do first? All lines are straight. Okay, what do you do first? Graph the point. Negative 3 comma 0. -3, comma 0, and then the slope is undefined. So what kind of line is that? Vertical line. You just want me to say line, all lines are straight again, right? Okay, it's a vertical line, okay? So what if, okay, slope's not undefined now. Now it goes through the point 0, -3, and the slope is 5.
Up 5 over 1.
Good. 5 equates to up 5 over 1. Up 5 over 1. So up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. So start at that point, go up 5 over 1. Hey, there's that line. So that's how you'd graph. And then they might ask you to find the x and y intercept again. Can you do that? Okay. All right. So that should easily, those examples should easily get you all the way through assignments number 2 and 3.